Hey, awkwardly awesome tribe. Thanks so much to you who tune in right now and to those of you listening whenever afterwards. Thanks for being here. Welcome to episode 116. I'm so excited. I have a return guest from last year in her, but between now and then she hasn't just been sitting around wishing for her life to become what she wants. She's been doing all sorts of new things and experiencing so much growth. So excited to bring her on, but first this.
Today's guest, Heather Thomas.
And let me tell you a little bit about her. When we last met Heather in episode 66, she was actively engaged in what she dubbed 2022 integration journey year, a year-long endeavor in which she studied health, wellness, and habit change as part of her effort to become a certified health and life coach. This year we are exhilarated to report that Heather has become a health and life coach certified by the Coach Institute. The credential signifies a transformation for her in career and views around work and money. Her expertise in corporate application system combined with her newly acquired coaching skills helps her clients secure the jobs of their dreams after layoff and career changes, increase their income by earning money from talents or hobbies, and find the mysterious cure to the work-life equation. Please help me welcome Heather Thomas. Yay!
Oh my goodness, I'm so honored. You make it sound so great. I feel just so honored to be here with you, Jason.
Oh, I'm glad to have you back. We get to chat sometimes by Facebook, but it's not the same as in person. So thank you so much for being here.
I feel like we're going to be all over the place today. Just probably maybe it'll meet people right where they're at the end of the year, right? Where we're trying to figure out all the things that we finished last year or didn't finish and all the things we're going to focus on next year. If anything, I am all over the place at this time of year.
So speaking of reflecting on last year, you decided to embark on a journey and dub 2022 your integration year. What did you learn from that journey?
Yeah. Yeah, great. And if I remember all the great questions you were asking me last year about health and wellness and weight loss, since that's kind of what I thought I wanted to do. I wanted to
Mm.
go help inspire people how to fully live alive, whatever that meant to them. And what I learned along the way is that it's so much bigger than that. And there were so many lessons I still needed to integrate into my own life. Not only like confidence journeys, but learning to create space and then learning how my desires for things like theater or being dramatic or wanting to talk to you on a podcast, like all those things actually are driving a purpose back to wholeness, if that makes sense. So it was like taking all the things that I've been learning about how to help others and then actually integrating them into my own life first.
So many of us want to increase our confidence, and we hear that a lot. Become more confident. Wow, wow. But how do you go on a confidence journey? And I just worked up the confidence to say confidence journey.
You did great. You did great. That is such a hard question. Uh, I believe personally that the greater you expand in life, then the more vulnerable you get, right? So I would even say, as I have approached new levels of, oh, I'm going to try this, right? I'm going to go get on stage and do a play, or I'm going to sit with a person and help coach them through a career change, that I have to rely on the things that built the confidence in the beginning, like reminding myself that I can make a mistake. I love how you inspire people to not be perfect, right? Reminding myself that confidence is not perfection. Confidence,
Confidence is not perfection. That's very beautiful.
it's right. That's and it was so what is confidence, right? Confidence is knowing that I'm showing up because I'm supposed to. And that's it, right? I'm having purpose, I'm providing value or worth. So I've really had to kind of go back to that. Um, I had one of my clients have a huge breakthrough on this one thing. It's like thinking about a chair, right? Sitting in a chair. You think the chair is going to hold your weight, but
Mm.
confidence is actually sitting in the chair and like relaxing into the chair and being like, I'm supposed to be here. This chair is here to support me, so I can be my crazy self.
So we can have abstract notions and till for years and years the chair will support me. This chair will support me on, but unless we actually sit in the chair, we never try out that belief.
Well said. Well said.
Well, I'm just re-saying what you said,
Yeah.
but I never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 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 you've been and let's put this more on the mat. You've been in four plays so far. I was lucky enough to see the last one, Christmas story. And what role did you play in that play? Were you just in like one scene for a minute?
No, right? So I played the mom. I played Mom
Yeah,
Parker,
which
right?
is one of the most crucial roles in the play.
Yeah, someone who had never acted before 2020, right? As I was just
You
briefly
say that again. You're
N
breaking up. You never
I
acted.
had never acted before 2021, or no, 2020, fall of 2020. I was in my first theater show.
So how did you go from? Or first of all, how long did you have the dream of being an actor?
Honestly, honestly, since I was 9.
Since you were 9.
I have this cute little, Barbie, uh, diary, and inside there, I found, and I've carried it forever, right? And I finally again, integrating, reconnecting to that those parts of yourself. And in it, I wrote, I want to be a model and an actress, right?
Oh my gosh.
Right. Like,
So, 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 model and actress. What kept getting in the way of you pursuing what you wrote in your diary?
yeah. Well, worthiness, I think, is part of it. I think we tell ourselves certain things, and the old who am I, right? Who am I to want to do this? Who am I should be doing X, Y, and Z. And I don't regret that I pursued a corporate career, a job, taking care of my family, being a mother,
Mm,
like doing all those things. And one of the biggest ahas, Jason, in becoming a health and life coach is it's really about helping people say yes to their own desires, right?
mm.
And I
Really
always,
about helping people say yes to their own desires.
yep, yeah, whether that's love, being more financially secure, having a better body or having a better sense of wellness, having a better career, having a better relationship, all those things. I think we often talk ourselves out of what we really desire, and then
Mm.
we don't realize that those desires are actually, I'm going to say this in kind of a foo-foo-y way, but it's like our souls reaching out for healing from whatever, being on this planet. And those desires are driving us. And sometimes I think once we get it, then we can almost open up other areas of our life. So I personally think the desires are there for a reason.
And what I'm hearing you say is that there's no time limit, no expiration date on our desires.
Yeah, right. Right.
So you had this desire from the time you were 9. What finally took you over the hump and helped you start saying yes to this desire in the last couple of years?
Oh, you always ask the toughest questions. What was it? So it was 2020. I remember travel ended, right? And I felt like I really needed some friends, and I needed to be back on the stage. So I had been doing corporate speaking as you and I, when you and I met, and I and again, huge shout out to Better with Improv, which is an online improv and acting classes course. So during COVID, that's what I spent my time doing, kind of connecting with people. And the other thing is, acting allowed me to tap into roles and emotions that I hadn't felt safe exploring before. So I kind of went in that direction, and then I found it as a way to like be of service to other people. And who knows? I'm sure I won't be I'm sure it won't be a full-time job, but I hope to take some of the things that I learned, like being a part of a cast, right? Like having a role that we play. That's so much like our corporate work life too, right? Like we have a
Mm,
role, we're
mm.
part of a team, and that teamwork is essential for getting things done, for bringing about even like a production, like a Christmas story.
I mean, we're going to talk a lot more about the Christmas story, but back up. So COVID's going on. We're experiencing social isolation, but but you found a way to experience improv during a time of social isolation. How did the idea? How did the solution of, oh, I can look online and find an improv class. How did the idea come into your awareness?
TikTok. I I immediately loved TikTok, especially during COVID, dancing around and being a Gen Xer, we all wanted to be on camera, right? We all wanted to, well, most of us maybe wanted to be in a music video or something. So, again, permission, like I had to give myself permission. Not everybody in my family and my life liked the fact that wanted to dance around on TikTok even. And then through TikTok, they also had like little acting challenges and stuff that were fun. That's the way I got
No
over.
way. Sounds amazing.
That's how I got over the isolation, like the COVID isolation. I think a lot of very outgoing people gravitated towards that.
So you learned improv, which is just a wonderful set of skills. I've done a bit of improv and it's challenging and like the play I saw you in, Christmas Story is a whole nother set of skills. Like I have to ask, you have so many lines. How do you memorize line after line after line after line?
Well, first of all, great director, had us do lots of practices, so that's number one. And great castmates that you learn to listen to their tone, right? So it's really this intimate way of playing off of each other. But then I will tell you my trick, and again, kudos to all the knowledge that we now have available at our fingertips. I think I Googled even like or YouTubed how to help memorize lines better.
Oh
and
wow, I've never thought of that. I just thought can't memorize lines, but you actually asked Google the question, and then what did you find?
So I tried a few different modes, but the one that worked for me, and I'm going to show you on a piece of paper really quick. If I'm going to say I'm live with Jason Freeman on the Awkwardly Awesome podcast, I would write on a note sheet the first letter of every part of that. Yep. So I'll show you with J F A A P. So I would write my lines on a cheat sheet. Let's see if we can get the lighting. We can get
So
the
so
lighting
we
right.
so
There
we
we go.
can't see them
There we
really at
go.
all. Oh
There we
yeah,
go.
I see it
Okay.
now vaguely.
So after you learn your lines, you like write all your lines on a notepad, a cheat sheet with just the first initials of each word. And then you keep practicing it so that your brain associates the letter to the entire word. And then before you know it, you've actually memorized all your lines and you can go back to your cheat sheet right before you go on stage and go like, "Oh yeah, that means live with Jason Freeman on the Awkwardly Awesome podcast."
Wow, wow. So what's something that I wouldn't know from watching the play that you know as an actor that meant a lot to you?
That's a good
And
one.
I don't know why I'm even asking that
I
question
love
at
that
this point.
question. I know. And this I learned from Better with Improv. Um, that when you're on stage, and I love that I learned this because I didn't know this before. Um, it's not about you looking good. Your
Mm,
job is to make
mm.
your teammates look good. If you can make them look good and be in relationship with them. So what's my relationship? So you watched me with 2 kids where I was their mom, right? It was so much fun sometimes because their mom and dad were backstage. But when we were on there, in my head, I was their mom. If I think there was one scene where the little boy uh, got oatmeal everywhere. Well, it was my job to wipe it off his face, even if it got all over me, right? Um, and the gentleman that played my husband, Jim, hey Jim, it it was, we are in that relationship, and so you really embody that relationship, and that's what makes the cast come together. So
Mm.
even improv is all about what's the relationship with that person that you're talking to.
Like you said, we'll be jumping around, but I have to ask, how does that concept of being in a relationship and making your teammates look good apply to the workplace and
Right?
being
Right? I think currently our culture says everyone should be out for themselves, right? We're kind of
mm,
this independent culture. So even when you're talking about career change or career growth, um, the outdated mindset is you have to climb on other people. And I think we've hit a new paradigm where we know that that's not the way we want to be and with our employers or with our teammates, and we can do a lot more together. And so when you take that paradigm shift and realize that if I can make my coworkers look good, my boss look good, my teammates look good, people that I mentor, if I can help them succeed, then and we're all doing it in the same direction. Oh my gosh, can you imagine how much more you can do together?
so in a workplace environment, what helps to get everyone on that page of, hey, well, team members will not competitors.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a big question, but
It's a tough one. So when I coach people in career endeavors, the first thing is taking personal responsibility, right? So what can you do to grow, learn, and change? And
mm,
then recognize that as you do that, your coworkers sometimes, anytime someone changes, makes other people uncomfortable, right? So some people will buck up against that, or some people will ask you. So personally, in my career, one of the greatest compliments I get is, "Oh my gosh, I really enjoy working with you because um, you're very positive in any team environment you're working in." And sometimes I've had to be very forthcoming with, "Look, I want to make you look good. Let's do this together." Right. And so I think you have to take personal responsibility and just call it out and say, "This is my intention," and then follow it through. As opposed to in sometimes in workplaces, instead we gossip about each other, and it's such a waste of energy. So that's the first thing I tell people is, if you're bringing negative energy, even if you're upset with someone, how can you turn that into positive energy?
what a healing phrase. I want to make you look good. What a healing sentence.
Yeah.
I want to make you look good.
Yep. 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 And if we come across people who just don't trust that, right? uh, It's fair. It's fair to not trust that someone has that good of an intention. You just have to let them then operate where they want to operate, right? And then you choose who you spend time with and what teams you get put on, those kind of things. But uh, career is about creating value, right? Work is about creating value for either your customer, for your company. and then creating value for your financial endeavors as well, right? So I'm just finding that the more I can treat people like humans in a positive way, the more value I'm creating.
The more I can treat people like humans in the positive way, the more value I'm creating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful.
I
What,
promised
what,
we'd be all over the place, huh? I'm just all over the place today.
and my questions are taking us all over the place too, but integration is about not just considering one thing, but considering a variety of things. So I think we might be on the right track.
Yeah, right, right, exactly. And I saw the comment from Legendary 3D Gamer. The theme is anything goes. I think that's the theme, right, Jason? Heather's all over the place. We're talking career, we're talking going after your desires, um, we're talking um, end of the year integration, right? Those are probably the big three themes.
But career, but also confidence and yeah, which
Yeah,
goes along with going after your desires.
yeah, yeah.
What are some things you've learned that you learned from your training as a health and wellness coach? What are some of the things that you most enjoyed learning during that training?
Yeah. So what I learned the most is that when we set up resolutions, right, like even beginning of the year, right, change for ourselves, we so often want to add something in, right? And we rarely consider that our habits have been created based on the environment that we've already set up. So if you're going to if you want to add in a new healthy habit, let's say, you've got to be able to create space, right? You've got to be able to either clean something out, clean out the clutter of something either in your mind or in your environment or in your work life or your personal life, all of that before you can truly um, meet a goal that you haven't been able to meet in your current set of habits. Does that
So
make sense?
let's that sounds really like we want to know about this. That sounds very important. Say someone has 75 pounds that they want to lose. How would your concept apply to them?
That the five things you must have for any habit change are remove remove some things to create the space for the new set of habits, right? Then you've got to, and that's going to require the awareness, right? How did my habits come to be? That was a huge learning for me this year, was looking at my own habits and then being compassionate about them. Oh my gosh, I eat every day at 4 o'clock, and I snack like this because of the stress of how I built through the day, right? So, how do I clear out that stress at 3 o'clock so that I don't find myself in the habit at 4 o'clock, right?
So you're not just talking about removing food. You're talking about removing removing patterns around.
Yeah. And really and again with compassion, right? Realizing that every habit that you have had good intent. Every compulsion we have has had great intent. It taught us to survive something, um,
Mm.
I'll be vulnerable for a second. I mean, personally, even though I've lost 100 pounds and kept it off, I had to give myself permission this year to realize that I still have 25 pounds on that I may have on for the rest of my life, but I still believe that they don't serve me anymore. But they had great intent in serving how I deal with emotions, how I deal with my stress, how I deal with my job, how I deal with all of it.
Mm,
And so I had to give myself permission to say, "Thank you, 25 pounds. Thank you, because you're teaching me all the habits that I built up to keep you."
mm,
And now if I want something different, I have to evaluate I have to clear the clutter of those habits to create the habits that I want that'll create this new identity that I want. So it's first being aware and clearing out the old habits. So if someone wants to lose 75 pounds in 2023, right? You got to create some space for new, be aware of how the habits that got you there, and then challenge the identity and the beliefs that keep you there. And then the other big thing that I learned is that you cannot do it without support. You got to have the right kind of
mm,
support. So I actually got my own, I took my own guidance this year, just this last fall, and I'm going into 2023 with my own coach from my own program, our Donna. So hi, Donna. And she's helping me create the space and awareness for my own habits. If I want something new for 2023, I need the support to get there.
congratulations. That's really awesome. What would you say about finding support that's aligned with us versus finding support that's sometimes support is not that supportive
Right?
or actually downright detrimental sometimes.
Yeah.
So how do we find the right coach or the right teacher? Any tips on that?
I think we need to it's so hard. It is so hard. And I would probably say that's my biggest weakness, Jason. This last year was realizing that I can't do it by myself anymore, right? Like I
Mm,
need support. And then I have to
mm,
look at the support that's actually all around me that I've been avoiding.
mm,
Right? I've been too afraid to ask for help. I asked a good friend for help last week, called her up and said, "Hey, I really need a friend." And it was probably the first time I've done that in 20 years.
mm.
Right?
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, come sit with me, come watch a movie. I just need support. So I think we have to look for the support that we've been rejecting in our life, um, and then and then lean into it. And it's the scariest ones, right? It's the people who really see you for who you are and then who
Mm,
tell you or call out the things that that you continually do, right? And then they say, "Do you really still want to do that?" Um, and you're like, "Oh, don't tell me that. That's the friend you need to have as your support."
people who are courageous enough to say, "Hey, this is what I'm seeing."
Right, right, right. And then, and ask for it. So if you don't have someone in your life that you feel dependent on, uh, then ask, "Hey, do you know anyone who can help me with this? Do you know anyone who can help me with that?" And I think it comes down to our desires, right? What do you truly desire? Oh, I have a great question for you, and a great question for the audience. This one came to me in coaching, and it really hit me hard. Um, This is to get to your desires, but who am I when I'm uninterrupted?
Who am I when I'm uninterrupted? Wow, and that question immediately illuminates how much in our daily lives we're interrupted, be it other people or be it by our own sense of I should be doing this, I should be doing this instead of what I want to do.
Right. That's right. Yep. Yep. I still have a hard time with that one, right? And then, so here's a follow-up question. What would I really want to do if I felt fully ready to do it?
Oh my, so great. There's lots of power in great questions. These are two amazing ones.
Right.
What
Right.
would I truly want to do if I felt fully ready to do it?
Mhm.
Oh, well, so where did I want to go? I had it. So this this technology, she is all that to start new habits and like you listed some powerful steps. What do you think often has people nodding their heads when they hear stuff like that, when they hear wisdom like that, but then going back into their own lives? And I know I sometimes do this too. I nod my head and go, "Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea." Then I go back to my own life and I just go back to the same tried and true comfort zone habits.
Absolutely. Oh, let's say absolutely. I am the exact same, right? Like, I have. Oh, matter of fact, this one's funny. I put on this jacket today, and I found this little thing that I had probably left in there a year ago or whatever, and it says, "What does my healthiest self want?" Right?
Wow.
And I thought, "Oh my, I don't even
You're finding great
remember."
questions all over. That's
Right?
amazing.
Right? And that's something my coach has been trying to get me to ask myself when I wanna go to a habit of, you know, grabbing maybe not the healthiest snack or grabbing a glass of wine when I really should go do some yoga to relax, habits like that, right? Um, so I think it's just never giving up. I think the key, this is my personal opinion.
Mm,
I think the key is just never giving up on what your desires are. And okay, you heard that thing. Maybe it wasn't the right time to do that thing that's going to get you there. Um, but when you feel that deep sense of, God, I want to do that thing, right? Whatever that thing is, I want to feel that way. I want to feel in love. I want to have a romantic relationship. I want to be on stage. I want to have a good friend. Um, just go after it, right? Find a way to, this, I think why we chose permission, right? It's having to give yourself permission to want to go
mm,
after your desires. And
mm,
then you'll figure out the how. You got to lean
mm.
into the permission to go after it.
And you're a very tangible example of wanting to act since you were 9 and picking it up of a few years ago just means like there's no expiration date on our desires. We can maybe rehearse some wisdom the first or 20th time and 1000th time and then apply it, but maybe we'll apply it the 1001st time and be in that play, be one of the lead actors or actresses in the play and shine. That's so inspiring.
And also, what's wrong with, okay, I really want to do this. Now I've done this. Now I don't want to do that anymore. Now I want to do something else, right?
Hmm,
Like,
nothing.
what's wrong with that, right? Now, we tell our kids, we don't want you to quit, right? But you don't want to be a quitter. But if you sign up for something, you see it all the way through, and then you don't want to sign up for the same thing again, right? And you want to try something else. I mean, what's wrong with that? Um, I think I have to explore that further in my own life, because I'm always afraid that, oh, well, I want to try this now, or I want to try that now. And sometimes, though, I hear, people in my own life that say, well, how many things are you supposed to try in life? Like maybe you're not supposed to try 100 things. And I think, well, maybe you're not supposed to try 100 things, but maybe I am.
And you have the perfect example of expanding on a desire. You first you did improv, and then that expanded into to doing plays, and I love the idea of why not try as many things as we want to try and see if that good fits for us.
Right. That's right.
So if we have to speaking of inspiration, we have to get to this a little bit, or I want to, because it's so inspiring. But if we have been talking on Awkwardly Awesome podcast when you were like 23 or 27, would we have been having the same conversation?
No, no. I thought you 23, 27. I thought you did what you were supposed to do exactly the way you were supposed to do it, and you could not go outside those boundaries, and you had to get permission from everybody else.
So you really, at that age, you really had yourself in a type box of your thoughts about what your life could be.
Yep. Yep, and I was angry, and I was resentful. Oh my gosh, I resented everyone else. I heard Brene Brown recently say that she always thought resentment was an anger emotion. I think I always thought it was too, but it's actually it's the family of jealousy.
Hmm.
And so I now see that I resented everyone else because I saw them living their life the way they wanted to live it. And that's why, and I think that's why now live so unabashedly, kind of a crazy, I'll do all these different things because I want other people to feel like they have the permission to do the same.
Hmm. What would you say to someone who's listening and just feels so angry and is like, Heather, I'm always been angry. It's just the way I am. What would you say to them?
What do you really want? And why do you want it? And how do you get there? Right? Like, freedom comes from pursuing your own inner wisdom, right? Like really
Freedom
leaning into
comes
that.
from pursuing your own inner wisdom.
Yeah.
I won't drop this mic because that's expensive, but freedom comes from pursuing your own inner wisdom.
Right. Right. So quick shift on this, just to kind of go back to the corporate stuff. Also, I think one of the things right now is a lot of people leaving their corporate jobs, and I get that, right? A lot of what they call quiet quitting, which is another whole topic. Um,
Mm.
but a lot of people going out on their own into business, and I've heard a lot of people say that that's where their freedom is, and I'm not advocating for any one particular corporate culture, but there is so much freedom in being even an intrapreneur. So I saw that glitch out. Um,
So what does being an entrepreneur mean?
so that means that you're working internally for an organization to further their growth.
Oh my gosh.
As opposed to, because if you've even heard of like solopreneurs, so people are, running their own businesses, or entrepreneurs starting their own businesses.
Oh yeah, I've heard of solopreneur, Heather. It's a I find it rewarding, but it's also a very challenging road.
It's a tough job. Because you have to do
Yeah,
everything. Do
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So I'm hoping that culturally we find a way to enhance relationships so that we can work together to further each other, right? Even in business, and that those who are still in corporate careers can find that health and balance, right? They can find that freedom by following their internal wisdom, even if they're working for a corporation.
So why do what you're proposing? Like isn't working for a corporation just about putting in the hours, getting a paycheck, and then going home and having free time and enjoying life?
Yep, could be. Could be. If that's someone, if their internal wisdom says that that's where they get fulfillment and purpose, absolutely. It could be something different for everybody. And again, career growth does not mean you have to climb the ladder of responsibility, right? Does not mean you have to be in
Oh,
leadership.
what I mean more is there's that stereotype of grinding it out at work, and
Right.
so we can be happy in our free time. But 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 why is it of value to an employee to learn to love what they do at work and to love using that intuition at work and to find that purpose at work?
Right. Right. I think it's because I think the the employees need to understand that they have influence on the culture, right? So cultures become very static and non-human when people are just putting in the time and they're not standing up for what could be better, right? They're
Mm.
not standing up for how people treat each other. And I think that's what makes some of the corporate environments so stifling, right? Just that's why people want to leave, and then they just want to put in their time because they can't be listened to. If you have the courage to stand up and say, we need to advocate for our customer, our team members better, that to me, that's a sense of purpose. I know a lot of people have done a great job, though, of leaving corporate America and starting their own thing, right? Because they can't find that in the corporate space. Um, I hope to also just help some people who want to stay in the corporate space and not or, right? And find that sense of inner freedom and purpose.
Does feeling well and empowered in the corporate space translate into to the rest of someone's life at
You
all?
got it. You got it. You got right? Like learning to manage stress, learning to manage expectations, learning, we always hear this work-life balance. Uh, aha that I had this year is balance is an action, right? Balance is proportional. It's like taking action to become proportional. So I may put in a 14-hour day, but then how do I communicate to my employer that I'm going to take 14 hours off, right? And feel worthy to say that so that there's some type of a balance in there.
And this leads to health and families and health and friendships and what you're talking about ripples out far beyond just someone's work to the rest of their life.
Yeah, yeah. And as you and I talked about, I think you wrote this in the bio. I am going to start a blog, and I had started it. And it's ask-careermaven.com or something. But get this, Jason, someone already else has that. How funny is that too, right? Like that's the other thing that stops people from doing stuff sometimes because there's so many great ideas out there. I watch everybody do things and I'm like, gosh, they do it. They'll do it much better than I will. So it stops you from starting. But I'm going to start anyway. And anyone can find me on social where I would really like to hear what are some of career challenges people have, right? Like, what can I start to blog about from my expertise? I'd love to hear what people have to say.
Well, so say the question you want people to answer again.
What are their challenges in their career? What do
What
they want? What are their desires? Where are they stuck? What keeps them from feeling valuable or worthwhile at work?
and what's the best way to find you on social?
Oh, probably right now Instagram probably is the best, right? So it's at Heather SD, and we can put that out there. And then we can put also out that askcareermaven.com at least for now, because I at least have that website, even though it's identical to somebody else's without the hyphens. So I'll have to find a new way to be original, but I at least can take questions there as well.
Is that website is up? The website is live.
It is.
Oh, I
It
didn't
is.
realize it was live.
So if you go and purchase any website, they'll let you be live even if someone else has a similar idea.
How do you spell Maven? May?
Maven.
So do I have this right? Oh, not yet.
At Heather SD on Instagram, askcareermaven.com. I think that's it. I know there's
Oh,
hyphens in between. So it's ask hyphen career hyphen
yeah,
maven.com.
you said that. Okay. Shoot.
And we'll
Um,
update it if it's not right, right? Imperfect. Imperfect. I
uh,
always think
uh,
it's funny. I come on here with you and um I'm totally okay with that. I have no agenda, right? To like I don't have it all together. It's all coming together at some point in the future and it's just okay. And you give me
mm,
permission to do that, Jason. You're such a
mm.
light in the world.
Thank you. Thank you for that compliment. So before we go, a few more things. What does this guy mean to you this
Mm,
year?
I have mine right here. my little ones are Matryoshka dolls from last year, right? And, it was funny because right before we started, I dropped this little one on the floor, and I couldn't find it, and I was looking all over for it. And then I found under my desk, a bunch of trash and a bunch of clutter. So, Jason, it reminded me that sometimes we lose the tiniest little pieces, and we have to go through the trash and the clutter to find it again. And this my
Which relates to losing a desires from when we were younger.
That's right. That's right. And it wasn't anybody's fault, right? It's just what life brings you. It's just what life brings you. And this one, this little tiny one, what is my value one? It's my value and my worth. So, fully alive is my big one back here. And then, but you have to get to trust to get to value and worth. So now I'm
Mm,
trusting the universe that my value and worth is secure, and who knows where it's going to take me from here, right?
mm. Do I have that right now?
I think so. And I should have checked beforehand, Jason. Sorry that I didn't. I think that's
That,
right.
I mean about the career maven.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right.
Okay. A wonderful friend Linda, who's a great supporter of the podcast. So thank you both for a great hour.
I'd love for someone to do a map of how many topics we hit today. I maybe we met the max, right?
I mean, yeah. We did cover a lot,
Yeah.
and I have one more to throw into the equation. What? And I asked you this last, so I think what today does doing your imperfect best mean to you, Heather Thomas?
Oh, you're so great. Today, doing my imperfect best is just showing up, not having it all together, enjoying this wonderful hour with you. Thank you so much, Jason, for asking me my thoughts on things. Oh my gosh. And hopefully, um, because I'm able to show up now imperfectly, hopefully it'll mean something to someone and they can take some nugget and do their imperfect best tomorrow.
Speaking of imperfect best, we need to touch on this. When I went down to see the Christmas story in Yankton, to me it was an utterly phenomenal performance. I loved it from beginning to end. But when I messaged you about it, you're like you had a different view of the performance. I felt was phenomenal.
Just being humble, probably, right? You always have a hard time watching yourself. It's even like now, like I've had my something so I don't see myself on camera, right? I think if you just you sometimes you can't judge yourself, right? You can't watch what you do, but it's always great when you hear that someone enjoys it, and that's what you really want. So you kind of remove yourself from the equation. I know that it was just people coming through me, right? It was energy and emotion for the show. So I'm so glad that even our imperfect best meant something.
So you talked about making your cast members look good as an actor, and you raised a good point that you're performing for an audience. So at the end of the day, is that view of the performance that matters to them.
Right, because yeah, you trust that people are gonna take what they need to take. And I've learned to judge the performances is how present am I able to stay in my body, right? And continue to just channel like positive energy, right?
Mm,
Anytime that I start to, because of course we all judge ourselves, right? Anytime I start to judge my performance or look at my performance, immediately it shortcuts my brain and I immediately get negative and I think about, oh, well, I didn't do that right. And I didn't do that right. um, so one of the ways I still compensate with that is I try not to watch what I do. Right? I try not to go back and watch something. So I probably won't watch, like, I can't watch this podcast because I can't watch myself, right? I just have to show up and just be myself in real life. And I think we should do that sometime, Jason. We're so close. We should do a podcast together in real life sometime. I still want to do that. That would be fun.
yeah, yeah, probably in Yankton, Sioux Falls, or we could meet in Irene, do a
Yeah.
podcast from Irene.
Yeah. Or we could go to the Empire Mall maybe and interview people, ask them questions. Hey, I would do that with you. That'd be fun.
That'd be really awesome.
We'd have to ask everybody if they think that would be a good idea.
That do, do yeah, put in the chat if you think it'd be a good idea.
I wonder if the Sioux Falls community can handle some of your questions, Jason. I'm not sure.
And I mean that'd be like double, not double power, because we would have my questions, we would have your questions. That'd be a lot of questions,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good questions.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you so much, my friend, for being a return guest, and thank you for really not only thinking about living fully, but actually finding the courage to take steps to sit on that seat again and again and trust it's a good seat.
Thank you, Jason. And keep inspiring everyone. You're such an inspiration and such a light in this world. And I hope you have me on again.
I definitely will. It's we have so much to talk about. This could go for 3 or 4 hours. But 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 we won't do that today. Thank you so much, my friend. Happy New Year.
You too. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone.
Wow. We did cover a lot of topics in the last hour, and and sometimes like today, I think that's so important. We were talking about integration and desires, which means taking in a large variety of information and putting the pieces out there and leaving them for us to assemble later in our own heads and for you to assemble. But so that's what I would encourage us all today. To 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 start sometimes having conversations about a wide variety of things and listening as the things appear and thinking about how they are all tied together. Because life it simply is not just one thing; it's countless things, and that's in my view that's part of what makes it endlessly as exciting. Thanks so much for tuning in if you're tuning in live, or thanks for watching this afterwards if you're watching it afterwards. Yeah, your time is valuable. Who you are is valuable. May you be inspired about yourself and the goodness you bring to the world. Have a great day. Hey, and broadcast. Just want to say bye, everyone. Bye.